Hello and welcome back to Ensuring Success, Day 1, Afternoon 1. We are here coming to you live from Dallas, Texas, and so glad that you're able to join us today. Ensuring Success would not be what it is, and we would not be able to offer CPE for all of you attendees if it weren't for our sponsors. So I want to just remind you briefly who our sponsors are, and they are ADP, Ace Cloud Hosting, CPA Charge, Avalara, BotKeeper, ComplyRight, CorePay, CoreV, CPA.com, eFile4Biz, Intuit, QX Global Group, Right Networks, Safe Send Returns, Sage, Suralink, TaxFile, Vic AI, Wolters Kluwer, and Xero. So we thank all of them. We were so appreciative to all of our sponsors for making this event possible. And as you might be able to tell, this session is sponsored by ADP. So thank you, ADP, for helping us do this event and for sponsoring this session. If you are just joining us, let me explain briefly how CPE works for this event. If you're here to collect continuing education credit, here's what you need to do. 3 times during the session, we will post a random group of 3 digits on the bottom of the screen. I'll call attention to them to make sure you don't miss them. You need to write down each set of 3-digit codes. So at the end of the session, you'll have 9 digits altogether that relate to the CPE for this session. At the end of the event, you'll go back to the EnsuringSuccess.com homepage, click the Get CPE button at the top of the page, and then enter the codes you've saved for all of the sessions you attended, and then you can download your CPE certificates. So that's how that works. Also want to remind you that after this event ends, within the next week, you'll get an email from us that is a virtual tote bag, which includes offers and information about all of our sponsors, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. One other thing, housekeeping item, at the bottom of your screen, if you scroll up a little bit, underneath the video window, there's a button that says Ask Questions. Click here to ask questions, I believe it's what it says, something like that. And you can click there if you want, if you have any questions about the event, or if you want to reach us. We're taking questions live on stage, so if you have questions for our speakers, you can use that button to record a question, and we will try and get to as many questions as we can during the session. So with that, I'd like to introduce this session and our speakers. And this session is called Hiring Challenges and Opportunities for Accountants and Their Clients, Tips and Tools to Become an Employer of Choice. And I'd like to introduce our panel. I'll introduce them briefly and let them introduce themselves really quickly. So we start out at the, right next to me is Jennifer Scott, and then Breanne Murphy, and Sean Duncan, and my co-host, Alexandra DeFelice. So let's just start with Jennifer, go down the line. I'd like you each to introduce yourself just briefly.
Thank you, Gail. I'm Jennifer Scott, founder and CEO of Hire Effect. We offer bookkeeping, payroll, HR, and recruiting services to founder and owner-led businesses. That's me.
Awesome. Breanne Murphy, Director of Marketing for the Accountant and Broker Channel at ADP, which is a leading human capital management company. I'm really excited to be here today.
And my name's Sean Duncan. I'm the owner of SMD Consulting and Accounting, and we've actually made the pivot from consulting to, from compliance to advisory, and have full financial advisory services as long as law and insurance. So we've moved to the family office model from compliance work.
And I'm Alexandra DeFelice, Director of Marketing and Business Development for Payne & Fears Law Firm in Orange County, California, and the co-host and moderator for all of today and tomorrow's sessions.
Thanks so much, everybody. So we want to get right to it. This session is about hiring challenges and how you can be the employer of choice, or if you're an employee, how you can find that employer of choice. So let me throw a question out to the group just to start with. What kind of challenges are we talking about? Why is it so hard to hire all of a sudden? It seems like everybody's leaving their jobs and everyone else is looking for someone to hire. So let's just start here with you, Jennifer.
Well, there's a lot of talk about the Great Resignation, obviously. I think there are a lot of reasons why people are leaving their present employment. What we're hearing is looking for more purpose and meaning out of the work that they're doing. I think COVID has a lot to do with that. People have sort of recognized their own mortality and have decided that it's really important to enjoy what they're doing since they spend so much time at work. I think also they got a taste of working from home for a bit, and I think people are looking for that for various reasons. I think, if you didn't get treated well during the pandemic, then it's time to go.
All right.
Definitely, yeah. At ADP, as most of our listeners probably know, we're a big company. We pay about 38 million workers worldwide, and 1 in every 6 in the U.S. So we have a lot of this employment data, and we've definitely found that companies are scrambling to hire, and job openings are at a record high. Employers have definitely had to get creative, right, to meet these evolving demands of their employees, and even we have found that. As far as wages and flexibility in where they're working, like locality is less important. A lot of difficulty in employers trying to maintain their top talent, for sure.
Well, and our industry is mired in a little bit of tradition, right? I mean, this is the way we've always done it. This is how accounting has been. And guess what, boys and girls? It's all changing. We're all shifting. And I love that what you said, the pandemic kind of exacerbated that. It gave people a taste of working from home and give a better understanding of what they want out of life. And what we've discovered is people are looking for that fulfilling opportunity, that thing that makes them successful in their own definition, not just the definition of what the job scope says it's supposed to be. And there's a lot of introspection that's been happening. I mean, the Great Resignation has hurt a lot of folks. There's no question. People have just bailed. And people have gone and started their own businesses, which has also been an interesting phenomenon as well. So that's the way we always did it. It's definitely not going to work anymore. And so we're all kind of adjusting. We're pivoting to what's the right thing, not only for our firms, but also for the employees and the clients as well.
I have a question for Breanne. So, we know that it's definitely not just about the money. People are leaving with no jobs, so it's not like they're trying to get more. And some places are saying, well, it's about the flexibility, but I don't think it's just about that either. So do you have any stats on that, or what are some of the factors that perhaps people can say, maybe I can implement these in my firm. Maybe I'm not ready to say they could be 100% remote. Maybe I can't give them more money, but I can give them X, Y, and Z.
Yes, a lot of the research that we've done has found that it's been really impressive what small businesses have been able to do. They've really proven their agility, right? They've harnessed innovation. They've been able to revamp benefits packages. They've been able to figure out a way to add more flexibility to their employees' workplaces and where they're working. But also, there's a focus on health and safety and employee well-being. There's a new commitment or a renewed commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And these are not buzzwords, right? These are not trends that we think are going to go away. Employers definitely have to care and understand how to navigate, again, the evolving demands of these employers, of their employees. So yeah, I think, again, maybe it's childcare support, or maybe it is mental health support. All of these are showing up in surveys that we're conducting that are super important to employees today.
Okay, so this is a great transition because Jennifer's like, please let me talk. I can say I know, because she is a small business and she's done some amazing things. And so we want to actually ask the audience, and then I'd love for Jennifer to share some of the great things that she's been doing. A poll question about. We just changed this question a little bit. Instead of saying list all of the benefits that you provide, what is the newest benefit that your firm has started offering? And the choices, and again, this will be at the very bottom. You'll see it. If you don't see it, refresh your browser. It's going to be, we put life insurance, telehealth, childcare again, and wellness. So we're going to launch that poll for people. And in the meantime, Jennifer, share, please. What have you done? That's awesome.
Well, our firm has grown from 6 to 22 people in just the last year and a half, which has been pretty incredible. We do offer some really, I think, unique opportunities for people. Part of what we do, one of the things that we do is offer part-time employment. We have a number of stay-at-home moms who work for us, who work with us, and that's really exciting for them. I have employees in 7 states. We're 100% virtual and always have been. So when you have that part-time ability, then parents can be there when their kids come home from school. They can be there to, attend the birthday party in the kindergarten classroom. They can do any of those things. We also added life insurance to our benefits package this year, which was huge. We offer, their standard medical, dental, vision. We have a 401k with a match. We do offer telehealth, and it is free to the employees and their families. And that's been really important to us, too.
So with all the part-time people, are they all working the same hours? Are there core hours? Do you let them work whenever? And then how do you communicate with each other if you're all working different hours?
So we do have a meeting cadence that's super important to us. We're very organizational structure around when we meet. So every day there's a team huddle for each of the individual 4 lines of business that we offer. On Mondays, there's a whole team meeting for, it's more than like a 15-minute huddle. It's a full, generally 45 minutes to an hour, where we're really digging into what everybody's doing because we're all remote. And even our full-time people don't necessarily work the same hours. I've got, our head of business development could be out till 9 o'clock at night at a networking event. Certainly don't expect her to be on at 8 a.m. And our bookkeeping team and our consulting team, they make their own schedules, so they set their own meetings with the clients. So we're very flexible in that regard.
Thank you for sharing that.
So we're seeing a lot of challenges, which, maybe in an alternate universe, if there hadn't been COVID, it would have just been life as usual, and we wouldn't have seen people making exoduses from their jobs and employers trying to decide how they're going to position themselves so that they can get great staff. But on the flip side of that, what about the opportunities? Given the fact that there's kind of a workforce out there for the taking, if you can be the employer who can attract their attention, what opportunities is this presenting to employers and also to employees who are looking for jobs?
Well, opportunities are endless, right? I mean, it depends on what you're trying to create. We build our hiring around our core values. And when we have this little key phrase that's really simple, are they us? When we're interviewing, we'll get done, we'll look at the resume, we do all the technical stuff, all the stuff you're supposed to do, but then it comes down to, are they us? We want to create what we're creating. And so the opportunity is to go out and find that person that has that same synergy that you do. It's not just, this is the job description. And so I find it really exciting because we also have an open door to create what your future is. In fact, I've got one employee that is passionate about crypto. I don't know diddly about crypto. It's not my thing. But he's so good at it that you know what, we're about to have a department of crypto. I mean, like, it's going to become a channel, but it's attracting that person that wants to take the reins and create their own future, starting with our core values. This is who we are. This is what we're trying to create. This is how we're trying to serve people. This is what we believe in. And we're attracting those individuals, but then open the door to them creating their own future. Does it always work? No, because there's different types of people. People that work remotely, there's not all of them. Not everybody works remotely. Some people succeed and fail, and so it's matchmaking. It's finding that right person that fits what you're trying to create.
Absolutely.
So if you need to learn about crypto, stay around for the last session of today.
I will be listening, for sure.
So on the flip side, what I'm hearing a lot is the younger people, they're the ones that are demanding this the most, but they also need the most mentorship. So how are you mentoring them when they're not, if they're not in the office?
It's a challenge, man. I mean, it's a process, and I love that you use Cadence because we have that same thing too. Is these are the times we're definitely going to talk and really understanding who they are, how they work, what they succeed with. But the Cadence in a pattern that really works for that individual. It's interesting is because the younger people are making these demands, but the interesting thing about it is, and again, us old fogies will say, well, this is the way I did it when I was younger. Sorry, that doesn't work. Listening to what they want, but what's really interesting is they're asking for things that they don't quite understand yet. They don't know what they're asking for. Well, I'm 24, so then I should make $300,000. That's what the market says. No, that's not what the market says, boys and girls. It's understanding what they want, but then mentoring them through what the actual progression is, setting expectations, but then managing them with a cadence, managing with a pattern, making sure that they don't feel like they're being micromanaged, but they're being held accountable. And it's a delicate balance, and it is a true leadership skill that has to exist. And if you don't have it, hire somebody that does, because it's not easy. It's really understanding them as people.
So, and I think it's a myth a bit that you have to be next to someone face to face, watching watching them in order to mentor or train somebody. And we're living proof of that because we definitely have both ends of the spectrum, you know, us old fogies and the not so old fogies. With the technology that we use, with all the cloud stuff we use, we're very Microsoft centric. So Microsoft Teams and being able to share screens and still see one another like you're there. I have staff that I've never physically met, ever. I'm okay with that. It works. I can still mentor them. I can still train them. I can still talk to them every day. I can still see what their facial expressions are, or their body language when they're getting antsy or whatever it is. I still have that.
And if I could say as well, you know, sometimes generationally there's a difference, but these younger generations have gotten used to doing a lot with technology in their everyday life, like dating or ordering their food or their transportation. So sometimes, you know, conducting professional meetings and doing a really great efficient job with their work could kind of come more naturally, right? So meeting part of the way, and again, them being open to this kind of coaching is important too. And if I could throw some data out there, I'll just glance down at my notes because ADP did conduct a survey of employees in small and mid-sized businesses that didn't leave their job, didn't change jobs during the pandemic, and they work in teams. 70% of those that were surveyed said that were fully on site said that they had a strong connection with their colleagues versus only 64% that were fully remote, saying they had a strong connection with their colleagues. But on the flip side, fully remote workers claimed their teams to be more collaborative and supportive, which is kind of crazy. So it's like maybe the connection could be higher in person, that water cooler chit chat and popping by someone's desk, but is it actually fostering enough real collaboration?
That's right. We solved for that. We have a water cooler channel in Teams.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Well, because that's something that you're missing. Like we returned to the office at the end of June, and what I said was, you know, someone on my team could have been pregnant and given birth to someone, and I wouldn't have known because I'm only seeing them from the chest up the whole time. And you know, the meeting started at 11, and they show up at 10:59 and 59 seconds, and they end at 12, and they're like, if it's 12:01, they're gone. And so you miss out of that little bit of that what's happening in your life. And while it might take a little bit of extra time, it's important. You're spending more time with these people than you are with your families a lot of the time. So,
on the mentoring, actually, I want to throw in a little tip that we learned over the past couple of years is the virtual mentoring, whether it's virtual or in person. If you're a business owner and you have this employee that needs the mentoring, it is a non-cancelable appointment. You make the appointment. If there's ever a reason a younger employee wants to feel like they've been included, even if they're virtual, you can't miss that meeting. There is no other meeting that is more important for you as the business owner than that meeting with your employee, especially because they are needing that mentorship. They are needing that growth and development. And that will create inclusion and opportunities. I mean, you have the Cadence. Don't miss it. If you say, oh, well, I got this client thing I got to take care of, you've already communicated where they stand in the hierarchy, and you can't have that happen. If you're having problems hiring employees, you can't risk them feeling like they're less important. And that's been a really important lesson we've shared with a lot of our clients in consulting.
Totally agree.
And I would say with this same study, we also found that fully remote workers were saying that their interactions were more meaningful and that innovation was more encouraged versus fully on site. But at the end of the day, we ultimately determined that 79% of hybrid workers felt the strongest connections with their teammates. So this balance of both, it could be really important, but that also presents a major challenge for a lot of employers, because how do you make sure that you have this really incredible quality in-person interactions to make the most of that kind of limited in-person face time when you do have that office time, right? So it's definitely a big challenge. And again, you know, with people being able to recruit from all over the country, Sean, I feel like we talked about this, you were doing the same thing. People in different regions might have less in common, right? And so trying to bridge those gaps and, again, create this deep company culture with people who could have a lot of differences, and working scattered across the U.S. presents another concern.
Time zones, different
Absolutely.
activities outdoors. It's actually a lot of fun to really intentionally build that culture. We have 4 core values. Our top 2 that we will make business decisions based on are people first and technology forward. And we'll hire for that. We'll onboard or not onboard clients for that. And it's really important to me that everyone knows that we are a people first culture. And culture happens whether you want it to or not. It's whether you're intentional about it or not. It's not like something that doesn't exist if you don't focus on it. So really focusing intentionally on supporting your staff, supporting your team members, supporting your employees, listening to them, asking what they want. And really, building that relationship, because that's what this is. Like you said, we spend more time with people at work than we do our families a lot of the time. Of course, I work with mine, so that's a different story. Really, getting to understand what's important to them and what purpose and meaning means to them and what will fulfill them, because it's not the same for every person. So we practice conscious capitalism. It's a thing, consciouscapitalism.org, if you don't believe me. And it's about putting people before profit and having a stakeholder model, not a shareholder model. And, really living that and whether it's our employees, our customers, the communities we serve, the environment, because we leverage technology and automation and encourage our clients to go paperless. I mean, we're really serious about that. And there isn't a person in our organization that doesn't know that and feel that.
Now,
Varying
throw a
degrees.
monkey wrench into it. Culture is what you want the culture to be. And so it doesn't have to be a kumbaya, everybody's giving you a big hug at the end of the day. No. Culture could be sit down, shut up, do your work. And you might find employees that respond to that and love that.
Absolutely.
You get to create what you want to create. You can create whatever you want, but know the culture, decide the culture, and then reinforce it throughout. And so a lot of times when we get talking with the culture, I've had conversations with my peers and they're like, I just want them to show up and sit down and do the work. Then that's how you hire. You find that. You don't try to square peg round hole this. You really have to be intentional. And even when that great resume is sitting there and they don't fit your culture, they're leaving in a year if they don't fit. So you might as well not hire them. I know you need the warm body, but it's really being intentional about it. So decide the culture, then match accordingly. And you don't have to match what my culture is or Jennifer's or Bree's culture is. Just whatever you want it to be, but decide it and then execute from there.
Yeah. We're going to take a really quick break.
Okay.
We want to hear a word from our sponsor, ADP, and when we come back, we'll have the first CPE code for this session.
Hey everybody, Dawn Brolin here, your designated motivator to tell you about ADP Accountantconnect. Oh my goodness, I'm so glad that I found this solution. ADP's free, award-winning, multi-client payroll management and analytics platform. A remarkably effective tool, giving you value for every single client that you're working with. Why would you want to do this? Strengthen your strategic advisory services because the analytical tools are amazing. Boost efficiency within your firm, everything in one place, and position your firm for huge growth and profits. Create a free account today at adp.com/AccountantConnect. You won't be disappointed.
Welcome back. Our first CPE code for this session is appearing on the bottom of your screen, so be sure to write down that code if you want to have continuing education credit for this session. Write the code. There will be 2 more before this session ends, so keep track of all those for your credit. And I think we have poll results.
We do, and then a question came in for Jennifer. So the results, 66% said that the newest benefit that they're offering is wellness, 20% telehealth, 9% life insurance, and 3% child care.
Wow, interesting.
Cool.
So the question is about you're in several different states, and it's how do you make sure that you're compliant with the laws in all those states?
We also offer HR services. So it's our job to be compliant in those states, and we do stay on top of that. We do have a great payroll partner, and that helps as well. And it's important. Listen, compliance is half of what we do. thankfully, it's only half of what we do, so that we get to play in the culture and values and leadership development space as well. I would say, for sure, you want to not mess around with that. If you're going to hire in multiple states, you probably want a good employment attorney on your side, and you know, don't run payroll by yourself.
Well, and I know you said, like, you're not paying the highest salaries out there, but you're doing all these other things.
Correct.
Then there's all this controversy because there's these people that are, some companies are saying, we'll pay you the same amount no matter what state you live in. So these people in, you know, Nebraska are making California salaries, and so the Nebraska firms are losing them. Or on the flip side, they're saying, well, we are based in California, and so if you want to get California, you know, you have to be in California. If you move, we're going to pay you less. So how do you figure that out?
I don't pay someone based on where they live because we're 100% remote, so it doesn't make a difference to me where they live. Yeah. We offer a salary. It is not the highest salary out there. I know that for sure. It's, you know, competitive, but it's certainly not six figures for, you know, someone running recruiting. Yeah. But we do offer all these other things, and because we're 100% remote, it makes it really easy to be consistent. We have salary bands for each role. We don't go above those salary bands, period. Someone can certainly get promoted and get more money, but what we do is we offer bonuses. We do performance-based bonuses, we do profit-based bonuses, and it's really exciting to be able to say to someone, hey, here's an extra, I don't know, $500 that you get the week of Thanksgiving or the week after Thanksgiving so that you can spend something a little bit on yourself for Christmas. So it's, you know, you find other ways.
Yeah.
So we've got a question coming in from someone who's having trouble hiring, running ads, not even getting responses to the ads, let alone you know, having someone to choose from.
Yeah.
So what advice are you giving employers in this current environment about how do you position yourself so that you can get the attention of people who are looking for jobs?
So there are a couple of things. Number one is a job ad is not a job description. And I think a lot of people miss that. So your job description is your sort of legalese document with other duties as assigned, but I don't want to take a job where other duties might be assigned if I don't know what they are. So really being clear in a job ad about what the expectations are for the job, how success is measured for the job, and really being intentional and clear on what your value proposition is to the employee, so that it's not just come here for a paycheck. It's here are the things that we do. Here's what we believe in, as Sean said. Here's our higher purpose. Here's why we exist. Here's what we offer for you. Here's what you can bring to us. So that you're really separating yourself from the rest of the accounting firms out there, the rest of the whatever, right? You've got something to offer to those people that's unique to you. You need to understand what that is and spread that word.
Well, and also not to mislead anybody either, is it's not easy, guys. I mean, this isn't easy. So if you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I can't find everybody is feeling that way. You're positioning yourself more effectively with these tools, but don't ever feel like, oh my gosh, everybody else is hiring them in a day and I'm taking 6 weeks or a year to fill the position. It is a struggle. It's a real struggle. You have to be tenacious. You have to understand where are your employees? Where are they hiding? That's where you need to position yourself. And if it's one job board versus another job board, maybe that's a simple solution. Maybe it's a lot of Facebook advertising. It could be a lot of different avenues. You have to work at it. It's just like finding your clients. Yeah. How do you go about finding your clients? You've got to keep trying and finding the right spot to get the message to the right audience. So if you're sitting there beating yourself up thinking everybody else is killing it and you're struggling, no. Everybody is having these moments. And the competition's fierce. You may have to move faster than you expected. We had a 3-step process with our interviews that needed to be not 3 steps because we had 2 great employee candidates and we said, okay, tell you what, it's Thanksgiving week. I'm going to take a few days and I'll be back in touch next week and we'll schedule our time. They accepted positions over Thanksgiving.
For sure.
You would think 3 days, come on, it's the holidays, they understand. No, they don't. And that's just the environment we're in. It doesn't mean there's an absence of employees. It's just keep after it the same way you keep after trying to get clients.
Well, and I think you can't always rely on a job board, right? Sometimes you need to be a lot more aggressive or a lot more active rather than being passive and waiting for them to apply to your job. So, we do a lot of sourcing. We do a huge number of employee referrals. That's how we built, I would say 80% of our team at this point is referral from someone. This one went to college with that one. This one lived next door to this one. This one grew up with that. I mean, it's awesome. Yeah. And it does kind of build that team right into the whole component. Maybe that's why we're so lucky being virtual, but it's fun.
So I know there are some follow-up questions, but I think we have a break.
We want to take another quick break, quick message from our sponsor, and we'll be back with your second CPE code.
More than ever before, your role as an accounting professional is essential to your client's success. This is the time to be more than just a service provider. With unmatched expertise and insights, AccountantConnect can help you become their most trusted advisor. It's a free platform we created with accountants like you to be a catalyst for firm growth. Through a single sign-on, cloud-based portal, Rachel has immediate and secure access to all her authorized ADP clients' payroll data, with integration to many popular accounting solutions, helping the company she founded deliver more value with client accounting services. Gabe's early feedback on AccountantConnect led to some of the new analysis tools he now leverages to think beyond tax planning, like providing business valuation insight to key clients and helping them plan for retirement. For a client struggling with employee attrition, Meredith delivered up-to-date compensation strategies using compensation benchmarking, a tool backed by ADP's vast payroll database, aggregated and anonymized, offering more competitive salaries aligned with external market trends, made an immediate impact on her clients' recruitment and retention efforts. Nick has been providing accounting and financial services to the small businesses in his community for nearly 4 decades. In an urgent response to new legislation, his team ran batch reports for all their run clients eligible for CARES Act support, quickly obtaining the necessary data to apply for loans and determine forgiveness. AccountantConnect is saving Emily countless hours by searching ADP's custom version of the CCH Resource Library. With exclusive, up-to-date tax resources, news, and analysis all in one place, she's quickly becoming indispensable to existing clients and adding new ones. We designed AccountantConnect for and with people like Emily, Nick, Meredith, Gabe, and Rachel. And dedicated support is always available for your questions or ideas. Because like you, we know that feeling when something you've done for your clients leads directly to their success. That's our connection, and it's what we're all working for.
Welcome back. Our second CPE code is appearing on the bottom of your screen, so if you're planning on collecting CPE credit for this session, be sure to write down that code and save it with the first one that we gave you. I think Alexandra has another poll that she wants to run.
I do have a poll, and then it's also the same question to you guys, which is what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing actually, even in my own firm is, and it's not at necessarily at the professional level, it's at the staff level with secretaries even. We're interviewing them, and they're saying, I flat out want a remote work, or I want to do hybrid work. So are you seeing that? And then how do you address it so it's fair? Because it's like, especially if you're all remote, so I'll pause it to you, Sean, and just overall, but like, how do you do that for the people that are back in the office, and then the new people, that's the only way you can get them. So the poll question for the audience is, are new candidates demanding remote work? And the options are yes, they're asking for fully remote work, or they're asking for hybrid, or most are okay with coming to the office. So question for you guys, pose it to you, Sean.
So yeah, I'm absolutely getting that answer. I mean, people are saying, hey, I live in Arizona, and they're applying for the job. Well, I'm not going to make you come into Dallas for every day. That's just not practical. Before the pandemic even started, we were already set up for remote work, and it wasn't because we were saying as a perk in the sense that you can work from home 100% of the time. In fact, we really would say we'd like it to be no more than 2 days a week. But the reason we did it was, oh, you got a sick kid? Just work from home. So we were set up anyways, but for a different reason, just because we wanted to have that flexibility. Look, you're big boys and girls. You can manage your work. Just make the clients thrilled, and I'm good with whatever you decide to do. And that just really carried on. And so while employees or candidates are finding us they'll ask and demand, it didn't change what we were doing. It's like, if you're doing great work and you're a great person and you're helping people out, man, we're all in. Let's do this thing, and then we have to figure out the compliance stuff. You know, I actually cheat and just use ADP because they tell me all the rules, and I don't have to learn anything. But we have them asking for sure, and then we really just give them the choice. Ashley likes to come into the office, and I like to come into the office too, so we hang out. I mean, that's just the way it works. But Suzanne has to work from home and only wants to work from home. Great. That's wonderful. She's a reliable and amazing employee. I don't have to look over her shoulder. But it's back to, you got to hire the right types of people. So yes, they are absolutely demanding it. And in my specific case, I'm cool. Just do great work and make people thrilled, and I'm not going to worry about it one way or the other.
And I've had a slightly different experience on the recruiting side of our business. So yeah, of course, we're 100% remote, but that doesn't mean my clients are all 100% remote. There are people who want to go back to the office. There are people who are ready to go back into the office. It might have to do with where you live. If you live in a tiny little Manhattan apartment, you're probably really ready to go back out into the world. I just kind of feel like it depends, as Sean was saying earlier, right? There's no one size fits all to culture. There's no one size fits all to people in general, period. So what works for me might not work for somebody else. There's more than one way to do it right. And I just feel like you need to find the right person who fits your business, whatever that business is, whatever that model is. There's somebody out there for you. There's the right employer out there for every employee. There's the right employee out there for every employer. How you find each other is a completely different story.
Well, and then that's another question that popped up. What great foresight. It was actually a question that said, if I'm an employee, how do I find these people that are willing to hire me to be remote or hybrid?
I'll tell you, I don't know, we're going to be a broken record. Look for the type of job you want. Or back to culture again. Go search everywhere. And then honestly, if you've got the skills, you just tell them. I mean, the fact that my new intern's in Jersey just worked out that way. He wants to do the stuff that we do. He couldn't find one local. He searched for the type of firm that he was looking for and applied. And so I wasn't going to make my intern fly from Jersey to North Dallas, so it just worked out. And he really said, hey, this is what I can do. And if the company says, that's not how we're set up, you didn't want to be there anyways. So it's really just go look for what you want. They're all over the U.S. I mean, this is just like any other resource being sent out of the country, right? The economy changes, the market changes. We're now a national employment world. It's not just I live in my locale and I have to hire people locally. You just expanded your entire potential employee base, and employees, you just expanded your entire potential job pool. You may not have to move out of state and make your spouse quit their job. That's just what you need.
You can also type remote in the search bar on Indeed and pull up remote jobs.
Although, I think some firms are hesitant to put that in the advertisement because they don't really want to offer it. They're like willing to
But then it'll be in the job ad somewhere. Possibility for remote work. And if it's not, and you're willing to, then you're doing yourself a disservice anyway. It might not be. So there's two ways to do it on most job boards where you have the ability to set your job as a remote job, or set your job in a location or multiple locations and allow it to also be remote as a possibility. So if you're a job seeker and you're looking for remote work, don't just look for remote, also use the word remote or work from home in the search bar when you're looking at it, because you don't know which way the employer's going to go.
Good tip. So we got the poll results. 44% said that candidates are asking for hybrid. 25% said they're asking for fully remote, and 30% say most are okay with coming to the office. It's kind of all over the board.
Yep.
Interesting.
One of the things we've talked about a little bit is benefits. You were mentioning the benefits you're offering, which include some new benefits that you hadn't offered in the past or pre-COVID. And one of the things we discussed when we had the planning call for this session was the fact that some benefits don't have to be cookie cutter, the same for all employees, but some do. So how can we separate those, and how can you promote the fact that you have some flexibility in your benefits?
For me, there are certain things you're compliant, right? You have to do certain, you can't discriminate. There's rules. Don't break the rules, but you understand who your employee is. You got to understand what their wants and needs are. This isn't just about I'm filling the role and the position. So I know this sounds weird, you have to listen to what they want. It's really weird. You have to have that dialogue. You have to understand what they're looking for. And so if that employee wants to work 100% remote, then it's congratulations, you get to work 100% remote. And if somebody else says, well, I don't want to work remote, great. It could be the simple little soft stuff, or you create a cash pool that says, I have this number of dollars that can allocate, and here's your smorgasbord of choices. You can do that as well. There's a lot of ways to skin that cat.
But there's class rule, compliance is a big deal with benefits. So you can do it by, exempt or non-exempt. Mm-hmm. You can do it by full-time, part-time. You can do it by...
explain exempt or not exempt for audience
sorry,
members who might not know that.
The easiest, simplest way to explain that is hourly versus salaried. Mm-hmm. And so you can have a set of benefits for your salaried folks that's different from a set of benefits for your hourly folks. You don't have to offer benefits to part-time people. You could do a health reimbursement account. There's lots of different ways that you can set it up, but you do have to be careful with compliance on classes. You can't just haphazardly say, well, the people, my friends here get medical, and if you're not my friend, you don't. Like, it doesn't work that way.
Well, consult your employment attorney. I mean, obviously, you're going to have to turn to the professional on this because you don't want to get in trouble for it. The lawsuit that comes later really does stink if it happens. But it's also, that's why things like executive comp plans exist different from standard retirement accounts. I mean, there are plenty of tools, and if you don't know what those tools are, then you seek the professionals that know what those tools are. It's an interesting world, and what one person values is different. So if it's creating a cash pool, say here's $150 to buy whatever office supplies you want, you'd be surprised how far that goes. It's office supplies, but you're not discriminating. But if they want to buy, a Baby Yoda mug, buy a Baby Yoda mug. Go for it.
And, not to plug too much, but Sean and I were discussing this last night as well. ADP does have compensation benchmarking. It's a tool, and it's completely free in Accountantconnect. And because, again, we have all of this data, we're able to create a tool such as compensation benchmarking, which is part of ADP Data Cloud, and it offers you and your clients these accurate insights on compensation strategies. So you can compare to businesses similar to yours, but then also dive even deeper into geographic location and employee and revenue size, hourly versus salaried employees, and really fine-tune compensation strategies for your firm, but then also use it for your clients. Which is pretty cool because, again, we pay so many people. We've got a lot of information to benchmark against, and we also have something similar for industries so that you can look at the metrics of specific industries and understand, like, what is the typical turnover rate, what is the female percentage, what is the employer contribution for benefits look like, kind of average and everything aggregated across the country. So these are tools that we've created out of all of this information that we've been able to source, and we want to help.
I actually completely forget that some of y'all don't even know what Accountantconnect is and all the tools that are on there. So to rehash how we use it, yes, we use it for employee benchmarking. Our current employees, this is what people are paid in that region. We talked about the different states and the compensation. The tools are there, guys. This is what the ranges are. But here's what's really cool is you as the advisor can also pull industry data and comps from other industries. This is not just about accountant compensation. You have a bunch of physician clients that somebody's trying to hire an MA in Tennessee. I can actually pull that data up and then turn around, and here's the drum roll, charge my client for that brilliant insight that I have provided, and it's all sitting on Accountantconnect or industry data. So it's not a shameless plug. I just forget. I mean, I assume, come on, you guys, you're not using it. That's kind of ridiculous not to. It's all this data that's there that not only you can use for your own company, but then you can turn around and revenue generate by providing that information to clients. It's exceptionally powerful.
And it is updated quarterly. I mean, we know that with labor shortages and a shrunken workforce, that wage growth has accelerated big time, and our workforce vitality report showed that. So again, it's updated regularly so we can keep up to date on what comp strategy is going to be best for you and for your clients across many industries of all sizes.
So some of the things that we traditionally looked for in jobs may not be as important now, or maybe not as important to everybody, but things like the ability to spend your whole career at one place, or pensions, which have kind of gone by the wayside and replaced with 401ks or similar plans. But more things like personal growth, or the ability to advance your career and your skill set while you're at an employer, are those kinds of things becoming more front and center right now?
Definitely.
Yeah.
They really are. In fact, actually, we had talked about this when we were preparing for it, is compensation is obviously huge and important. And I know Breanne has tons of great data about that as well. But this is getting a little bit like that 2000 environment. Now, I'm in Texas, in Dallas, and this was the telecom corridor. Everyone knew you would get a job. You would stay there for a year, and then you would interview for the next job, and you get your 10% pay raise. And you would do this over the course of 5 or 10 years, because that's how you got pay raises. And everybody was a migrant worker. I mean, there was a telecom, technology, accountant, migrant worker system that was happening. It was frustrating because nobody could build. And so keeping that talent, even back then, is now happening today. You've got to give them a reason not to make those hops. There's got to be so much more than the wage chase. Now, will people continue to wage chase? Of course. I will tell you, when I see a resume that they've had 7 jobs in 5 years, I don't even bother. It's not, I already know you're a migrant worker and that you have no intention. I want people that want careers, back to culture. But you've got to find those ways and those tools to attract them, to keep them there. And you're right, personal growth, job growth, whatever their personal definition of success is, understanding that so you can help them achieve their success. If you're helping them achieve success, you're going to gain it as well. But yeah, it's a weird environment. It really mirrors what I was watching in 2000.
2 things to add to that. So I have clients. First of all, internally, I'm exactly the same way. If you're a job hopper, I'm not interviewing you. Like you're not meant to work at my organization, but I have clients who will flat out say no to the perfect on paper candidate because they've had too many jobs in a short period of time. That the job hopper stigma is real. If you're a migrant, as you call it, that might not work for you for very long. The other thing I wanted to mention is we just started something I'm calling career conversations with our team. So I'm literally asking people on my team, because as we grew so fast, I mentioned we went from 6 to 22 employees. I sort of had gotten disconnected from some of my folks, and that was almost really, really bad for me. I almost lost someone that I definitely don't want to lose. And I started to have these, what I'm calling career conversations, where I'm asking, where does higher effect fit into your life? We know we're not paying top dollar. We can't. We're basically rapidly growing our expenses or chasing our revenue up our P&L, as I like to say. It's a problem. Where do we fit into your life? What do you want? What do you want to be doing? What's most important to you? And actually having these conversations such that I'm learning now, well, I really want to be doing more advisory. I really want to be doing more analysis. I really want to be working as a project lead. And, we can make that happen. Mm-hmm. It's powerful.
We're going to do one more quick break. Another quick word from our sponsor. We'll be back with the last CPE code and a few wrap-up comments. So we'll be right back.
Hey everybody, here I am, Dawn Brolin, your designated motivator, and I'm here today to talk to you about the Adp Referral Program. I love it. Work with Adp your way, because no 2 accounting firms are the same. You can process your own payroll, get rewarded for referrals, hand off payroll entirely to Adp. Adp is so flexible. You want to increase profits? You want to have everything in one place for you? That referral program is the way to go. Go to adp.com/accountant. You won't be disappointed.
Welcome back. Our third and final CPE code for this session is appearing on the bottom of your screen, so be sure to record this with your others if you want CPE for this session. And as we're moving towards the end of this session, I'd like to just kind of go through a few takeaways for our audience, which include what should the steps be? If you're an employer, you're out there trying to build your employee force, either replace employees who've left or expand your business, what should you be doing and in what order in order to position yourself well?
So,
Okay.
That's a lot of answers.
Capitalize on this. I think the most important thing is that you need to understand your value proposition, your employee value proposition, what's in it for them if they come work for you. Because it's not always just about a paycheck. It's not always just about working remotely. What is it that you offer that really is unique to you? And it may just be about your culture, but being able to articulate that is crucial. I think also then being really clear on, as I said earlier, the expectations for the role and how you're going to measure success for that role. I think you need to be crystal clear on that, because what I've seen is, the job description morphs over time as you interview candidates, and then you're like, oh, well, that's not really what I meant, or oh, that's not really what I want. Well, you're going to lose good people fast in this market. So really being clear on what the expectations are for the role and how success is going to be measured. Referrals. Ask the people that are working with you. I think my last resort, honestly, is a job ad.
You have any data?
Well, I was going to say, I think quality data can connect technology and people to make work better, right? So leveraging your employee or your company data is pretty imperative too, to be able to really determine your bottom line, your client's bottom line.
And you've mentioned the various stats that you brought with you and where this data is located at ADP, but do you want to reinforce that for those who are asking?
Sure. Yeah, I think we had a couple questions come in the chat. ADPRI.org is our Adp Research Institute, which was created really over the last few years, within the last decade, because we have all of this amazing information, and it's led by Neela Richardson, our ADP chief economist, and Marcus Buckingham, head of people, and they're really brilliant, and they're constantly analyzing and sampling sets of data and finding, deriving new insights, and it's really our really cool, unique contribution to the world because of what the data we're able to pull. But then, of course, also a lot of this all lives in Accountantconnect for free.
And if you weren't watching when Dawn Brolin, my buddy, if Dawn, you're listening, hey, love you, you're my friend. Can't wait to see you again in January. Seriously, those ads were that's a real person using a real tool, just like I said. I took for granted that you guys were using these tools. Seriously, there's so much information here, you're going to be shocked. You may not even need tax research software, just saying. For me, I'm going to go real holistic on what your steps are, and it's a little bit of a theme that I've unintentionally included here. What are you trying to create? Who are you? What is your firm supposed to be 5, 10, 25 years from now? What is your definition of success? Not the way Grandpa told you your CPA firm was supposed to be. What are you trying to create? If you don't have clarity on that, all the rest of this is freaking irrelevant. You need to know your success. I mean, I had the largest firm in town and then fired all of my tax return clients to pivot to honor my success and what I want to do. And I'm better off 10 times whatever I would have been had I continued that path. It was a terrifying decision, but it was the right decision for me, for my success, for my employees, and for my clients. If you start with what you want to create and then build backwards, you're going to understand what culture you're trying to create. You're going to understand the type of individuals you want to be part of your team. Here's the scary thing. The people that are on your team now, the clients you have now, may not be your clients in 3 years. You might have to get rid of some of those to get the right thing, but you'll be more fulfilled. You'll be happier. Your employees will be happier. You'll attract the right people. It'll build. It's a process. But if you don't know where you're going, any path will get you wherever you're not going. So stick to the true plan. The rest of it will fall in. So figure out your own darn plan. Figure out what that culture is going to look like, who you want to attract. Then we get into the mechanics of how you post and what wording you're going to use and how you're going to SEO this thing to death. But you can't do all that unless you already know what you're trying to create.
All right, outstanding. Thank you so much. Great panel. This was a super discussion. Well, we thank you all for attending and thank ADP for sponsoring this session. We will be back at the top of the hour with a new session on the sales tax business of the 21st century accounting firm. So we will see you then. Thank you.